Today I'm going to be talking about Humongous Entertainment. If you grew up in the 90s or even early 2000s, you've probably played a game by them. Or a set of games, more likely. They are most well known for games such as Pajama Sam, Freddy Fish, and Spy Fox. Combined, these franchises sold over 15 million copies and won countless awards, and in my eyes, rightfully so. I will talk more about Humongous Entertainment in just a bit, but before then I'd like to talk about the Pajama Sam series in particular, because it is one of my personal favorites, and Freddy Fish is a close second. And for this video, I'm not going to be going over the other mini-type games that they released. I'm going to go over the main series, which I consider to be Pajama Sam 1, 2, 3, and 4. As for Freddy Fish and Spy Fox, as well as other franchises by Humongous Entertainment, I will likely make a video on those someday. So let's jump right into Pajama Sam 1. No need to hide when it's dark outside. Originally released in 1996, which used the Scum engine, short for Script Creation Utility for Maniac Mansion. We'll talk more about that later. It was recently re-released in 2012 for the Wii. However, I do feel it's worth noting that if you do have a modded Wii or a PC, you can use Scum VM on either one of those and play your original game using that. And if you aren't aware, Scum VM is essentially an emulator that lets you play games, older games notably, that use Scum, and it lets you play those games on modern systems, because sometimes you can install the game on something like Windows 7 or up, but sometimes it doesn't always work right, and that's where Scum VM comes in. Also, just a quick note if you were considering purchasing the official Wii version, according to 1UP, the autosave system is pretty bad. It saves at inconvenient times, and they also noted it had a pretty poor save UI. The UI I can get over, but the inconvenient autosave times might be a deal breaker for me if I were in the market for a game, but I already own that copy, so yeah. Anyway, it is nice to see that the game is ported to a relatively modern system. And over the years, it's been ported to a number of systems such as iOS, Android, Linux, and Steam. So in the game, you play as the role of Sam. And this is a boy who loves to go on adventures and ventures forth into a realm of darkness and is forced to face his fears while also looking up to his idol, Pajama Man, which is the superhero in the Pajama Sam universe. The gameplay is varied to an extent and has certain items that may be in different places where items required to get other items that may be placed in other places. So it's your standard point-and-click adventure game, but it does have a twist that adds some replayability to it. So moving on. Also, if you've heard Sam's voice in the games, or if you've played him before, you might notice that sounds familiar, and that is because it is. Sam is voiced by Pamela Alden, which is known for her work as Bobby Hill on The King of the Hill, and also Ashley Spinelli from Recess, and quite a few other works. Next up in the series is Pajama Sam 2. Thunder and Lightning aren't so frightening. Released in 1998, which used, again, the Scum engine. It was released for Windows and Mac, but later was ported to Android, Steam, and Linux. This game focuses on Sam going up to the clouds via his attic. Don't question it, it's a video game, so I don't always like to give it a pass just because it's a video game, but in this case, I'll let it slide. And he is determined to stop said Thunder and Lightning because it's scaring him, apparently. Anyway, in this gameplay, you have puzzles similar to the first game, but as I recall, the game was moderately more challenging than the last. However, I was much younger at this point, and really, Pajama Sam was the franchise. It was like my first experience of PC gaming in general. Okay, the third game in the franchise was Pajama Sam 3, which is You Are What You Eat from Your Head to Your Feet, which was released in 1999, which also used the Scum engine. This game kind of diverges a little bit from the whole life lessons theme that was going on and ventures more into a wacky and somewhat political world. Sam starts off by eating several boxes of cookies in order to get Cue Punch, which he puts towards a Pajama Sam Man action figure. In one of the boxes of cookies, the cookies decide to become sentient and run towards the pantry closet, and Sam chases after them, leading to a world made up of food. He's locked up in jail after saying he didn't want to spoil his appetite in front of the sweets. I guess that's because he offended them somehow, I'm not really sure. It's not really made clear in the game either. Following this, he finds the food groups are divided, and he must do what he can to unite them for some kind of peace conference. And again, this game strays more from the educational type vibe they had going on in other games, and more into a weird political game, but overall, the world and the game is very funny and entertaining in general. And I also recall this game being one of the more challenging games in the series, and again, this doesn't stray all that far from the gameplay of its predecessors, but still the puzzles are fun and the environment is wonderful. This is also the last game that featured Pamela Alden as the voice of Sam, unfortunately. Finally, there's Pajama Sam 4, Life is Rough When You Lose Your Stuff, which was released in 2003 for Windows and Mac, and later released on iOS, Android, and Steam. Now, full disclosure on this one, I have not played this game for myself, but I have watched Let's Plays of it online and got an idea of it. At first glance, this is just another Pajama Sam game, and it is in fact that, but if you look on Steam, you'll notice, unlike other titles posted by Humongous Entertainment, it has an overall rating of mostly negative, and on Amazon it has a 2.8 out of 5 stars out of 44 reviews. Though if you look to sites such as IGN, you'll notice it has an 8.9 out of 10 rating. And just as a quick note here, this was the last Pajama Sam game that was released, and this was after Atari's takeover, mind you. So right off the bat here, I'm saying mixed signals, and I think I have a theory as to why. I have a feeling that around 2003, most of the nostalgia for Pajama Sam had worn off, and the voice actor change from Pamela Alden to Alicia Ferguson was the straw that broke the camel's back. Oddly enough, when I went to look at Alicia Ferguson's IMDb page, I saw only one work, and that was Pajama Sam 4. Now don't get me wrong, I don't think Miss Ferguson was bad as Sam, but I definitely missed having Pamela Alden as Sam. Another thing odd about this title was, rather than using the Scum engine, it uses an engine called Yaga. The reason Yaga even exists is apparently due to the fact that sports games did not work brilliantly with Scum, and although seasoned developers worked around these limitations, it was taking up too much time. And I guess since they were now using Yoga and other titles, they decided, why not switch Pajama Sam to it as well. Now again, take what I say with a grain of salt, but the gameplay looked good, and the environment also looked good, but I think that a lot of Steam users saw it as a repetitive entry to the series, and a new voice actor was the tip of the iceberg. So in review, I think a large part of the series' success came from the fact that the environments were unique and fun, the game had fun characters, and the game also had some pretty good puzzles. Going back and replaying the games, the puzzles are fairly easy, but as I recall when I was younger, they were much harder back then. If you play them in order, you might notice that as the game series progresses, the puzzles do start to get a bit more complex with each title, but mind you, I'm mainly familiar with the first 3 games, not the 4th. Finally, let's get back to Humongous Entertainment. So what exactly happened to them? And special thanks to Wikipedia for helping me out with this bit. Well, the company was founded in 1992 by Shelley Day and Ron Gilbert. In 1996, it was purchased by GT Interactive. Then in 1999, GT Interactive was indirectly purchased by Infogrames Entertainment SA. Renamed to Infogrames Incorporated. Infogrames Incorporated was purchased by Hasbro Interactive, which owned the rights to the Atari name. And then Infogrames was again renamed to Atari Incorporated. There was a hint of light briefly, as the co-founders did try to buy it back from Infogrames, but as bad luck would have it, it was the day of the dot-com bubble, aka the tech crash bubble, and funding got pulled. The co-founders did form a new company called Hullaby Entertainment in 2001. The co-founders, Shelley Day and Ron Gilbert, worked on games, only 6 in total, but in 2004 they stopped. This was likely due to the fact that Shelley Day defrauded Asia Europe Americas Bank for $1.4 to $1.5 million, saying that Disney Interactive was going to buy a portion of Hullaby Entertainment. This was all to buy a quote-unquote dream home on Mercer Island. Anyway, getting back on track with Humongous Entertainment, the company still lived on releasing games here and there, but the original franchise, such as Pajama Sam and older games, were largely untouched until 2011, which was when Atari decided to release a large variety of the games for modern platforms, in this case, smartphones. In 2013, Atari decided they wanted out of the relationship with Infogrames, bankruptcy protection, as the company was unprofitable. Humongous Entertainment yet again changed hands to a company called Tomo Inc. in 2013, but it did not maintain all of its franchises. They lost Backyard Sports and Moon-Based Commander. Since Tomo acquired Humongous Entertainment, all they've really done is re-release old titles on the Steam. In a sense, I'm glad seeing old titles being brought onto modern platforms such as Steam and being made available to everybody. On the other hand, it is sad seeing the current state that Humongous Entertainment is in currently, and I kind of wonder what, if anything, will be done with some of the old franchises, or if anything should really be done. The legacy Humongous Entertainment left behind is quite something, and although part of me would like to see some of the franchises be continued, I get the feeling it simply wouldn't be the same, and it's best to let sleeping dogs lie. Finally, let's talk about Scum, which stood for Script Creation Utility for Maniac Mansion. As the name implies, the Scum engine was created for Maniac Mansion, which was released in 1987. Since then, the Scum engine has been expanded, And when a developer needed a new feature, they could expand Scum to do so. The whole idea behind Scum was rather than building a convoluted engine only sorted towards one game, it would be more generic, and in special use cases, you could expand it to fit your needs. Even today in engines such as Unity, you can see the same type of approach is taken. Unity has a generic catch-all way of doing things, and you can extend it yourself, or by using assets from their asset store. This approach worked well for Scum, but in some cases, the catch-all approach doesn't always work out. Going back to the Unity example, sometimes when you need to work on a particular feature that hasn't been done before, or something brand new that you want to do, sometimes you have to write it from the ground up, and at times it feels like you're working around the engine rather than working with it. Regardless though, Scum was used in the creation of many games and has left quite the legacy. In closing, it's really kinda sad to hear about what happened to Humongous Entertainment, and admittedly, before I started doing research on this video, I didn't really know just how much Humongous Entertainment had changed hands. I was aware that Humongous Entertainment was kinda defunct already, but I didn't realize the extent of it. Despite that, back in their prime, they made a lot of great games. And I think for a lot of people who grew up in either the 90s or early 2000s, I have a feeling that Humongous Entertainment games were really a lot of people's first experiences with PC gaming in general. And that's part of the reason why I've always felt very fond of them and their games. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope that you learned something about Humongous Entertainment, and I hope that you've enjoyed the video.